7 days a week going hard and intensely is not the right way to do it. It's not the right dose or the right intensity. Like, not for anybody.
I don't know. We'll find out.
All right, you start.
All right, bye. New year, new me, Sean.
New year, new you? Or
yeah, new me.
Just you, but not anybody else?
No, just me.
Okay. I'm curious to where you want to take this, because I know we're going to talk about how we shouldn't necessarily set a weight loss goal, or how are you framing it exactly?
Weight loss goals are goals, but they're not habits. And there's some helpful strategies to make sure that those goals actually come to fruition by implementing systems rather than goals.
Yeah.
Goals are things that we can reach for, but we always want to ask, well, what's going to get us there? So systems are the things, the habits that actually will lead to that goal long term.
Right, yeah, and I mean, I think for most people who come into the gym, like a lot of people start January, you're like, okay, I've got a fitness goal. Maybe it is, I want to lose X amount of pounds. And you think to yourself, okay, I got to do all these different things apparently, right? I got to be going into the gym, right? I got to eat a certain way. I got to put away the potato chips late at night. I apparently have to go to bed at a certain time, right? Like, you got to do all of these things, supposedly. What do you think the most important thing to start with is? Like, what's the first habit you tell people?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be pretty overwhelming. As far as where do I start on this health and wellness journey here in 2025? And I think the very first thing people need to do is focus on regular movement. Just getting to the gym a few days a week and focusing on more activity outside of those workouts as well.
Yeah.
People oftentimes will say, I'm going to get to the gym 7 days a week. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all in. And that lasts usually 1 week, if that.
Yeah, and this is actually something I want to hammer home to people, is 7 days a week going hard and intensely is not the right way to do it. Like, not for anybody, even for someone who's very advanced. Like, I noticed this for myself in my own training. Like, if I'm training really, really hard 7 days a week, I will regress. It's not the right amount. It's not the right dose or the right intensity. Like, for almost all of us, and this applies to, like I said, almost anyone, whether you're more beginner, intermediate, more advanced, like 3 days a week of hard strength training is probably like the right dose, the right amount. Like, it's a little more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
But most people think I got to get in there 7 days a week and go hard at the gym. No, not necessarily. Like, you should be keeping your body moving on the other days.
Yeah.
But you don't need to go crazy hard, David Goggins style, 7 days a week. Right. I don't know who that is, but anyway.
You know who David Goggins is?
No, they probably don't. The people who are listening to this, hypothetically. I mean, nobody will probably actually listen, but like, hypothetically, if somebody listens, like, they won't know.
You are our David Goggins. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Get you a shirt that says,
"Oh, stay hard."
That's right. Stay hard.
But Blake's gonna be pissed. You didn't pick him.
I know. Well, we can turn it around.
Maybe Elliot is triathlete.
He's actually,
He's actually should. He should be really pissed if he listens to this.
Exactly. We'll
right.
see if he does.
Anyway.
So as far as workout frequency, right? You're right. 7 days a week is only the right choice if you want to burn out very quickly. 3 days a week, the science says that is optimal. The research says 3 days a week, total body. You're not crazy sore. You get a day of rest. You can recover in between, and yes, you will honestly see a much more sustainable path doing it that way versus trying to grind every single day, doing something that's totally brand new. So we don't want to like go leaps and bounds. People look at a goal and they'll be like, it's like a big wall, and they'll see the wall. It's totally out of reach, and they'll just jump for it, and they can't get it. So there's an element of those baby steps, but we want to take big enough steps too. We get some traction. So 2 to 3 workouts a week in the gym, focused, some you time, get off your phone. And then, step goals outside of that. Anything that keeps you moving, that you enjoy doing and look forward to, that you can do every day a week, 100%. And
I have an anecdote here. I got something for people listening that might kind of like, hopefully blow your mind a little bit, but it's a mindset shift is what it is. Because a lot of people think, okay, if I'm gonna go into the gym, I have to go really hard. Like, people don't want to work out because they're like, oh my God, this is gonna suck, right? And so there was fairly recently, a woman who works out here was coming in for a group session and was saying like, oh, I know I gotta be here, but this really sucks, right? Like, I hate it, it sucks, I hate working out, but I know I gotta be here. And I told her, I think it was like a light bulb moment. You never really know when you're talking to someone, but I think it was like a little bit of a light bulb moment. I'm like, Well, you know what? When I go into the gym, sometimes all I like to do is think about it as like, what can I learn today? What can I learn about the way my body moves? Like, oh, maybe I don't have that much of a range of motion when I squat down. How can I learn to move a little bit deeper? Like, it's not just trying to like go balls to the wall and push myself 100% all the time. It's what can I learn about the way my body works? Right? And I think, you never really know, like someone probably that goes in one ear and out the other, but I think it was like a little bit of a light bulb moment where she's like, whoa, I don't have to just crush myself every day. You know?
Most people think that. Everyone thinks tired and sweaty is a good workout. But it's definitely more than that. We like to focus more on the, let's get you strong and healthy, not just tired, sweaty, hungry, spike your cortisol, stuff like that. Fitness and nutrition and a lot of this stuff, it's like learning a new language. And so a lot of times, if you have not worked out regularly and you're like, I'm gonna shift my entire lifestyle in less than a week, it's like you're throwing yourself in another country that doesn't speak your language, and you just got to learn it. You will learn it, but it's going to take a long time, and you'll want to go home really badly, very often. So, we like to act as the, I guess, tutors, if you will, the ambassadors to it, so we can teach you in the right way, the right skills, so you learn the language. And you're absolutely right. It's way more than just more than suffering. Let's put it that way. Which is what it can seem like.
How do you, because for me, this is something I actually still genuinely struggle with as a coach, is how to frame things for someone who says, okay, I need to lose weight. I know it, I'm overweight and I need to lose weight. Now, the way you're communicating it is having a weight loss goal is not the right thing to do. We shouldn't just say, okay, my goal is to lose this much weight. Like, how do you frame things for someone? How do you communicate to them? And get them to buy into what you're trying to tell them.
Yes. So, going into this, a weight loss goal is fine to have if you first focus on the systems behind it, because those habits are going to lead to that goal. So, say someone wants to lose 20 pounds, what are the things that will get you there? Because if you focus on those daily habits, those will stack over time, and you will eventually lose weight. And probably the same rate you did or would previously had you not focused on that, but it's going to last longer, and you're going to be able to maintain that loss because you have the systems to help protect you when life dictates otherwise. So if someone's with kids, stressed at work, it takes one thing to throw you off one day rolls into 2, maybe 3, and if it's a week, it's going to seem nearly impossible to get back on track in the way that you want, and then it's another year goes by. So, we want to have people focus on their habits, which is, workout goals. We've covered that. And then there's, 2 other big pillars. There's the nutrition side, and then there's the sleep and stress management. I'd tie to that too. So we can focus on those 3 systems. You're going to get to where you want to go. It's just a matter of when.
And those, kind of 3 systems, I always think about like the 3 key big rocks. What are the 3 big things? Okay, it's nutrition, movement, and sleep, right? I mean, it's not some fancy pill. It's not some red light therapy. It's not some. And there's benefit to all these things. Don't get me wrong. But like,
I saw a video though online. The guy swore it was like an apple cider vinegar thing from a special tree in California that only grows like a month of the year. He said that's actually the ticket to health.
That's the ticket. This is actually one of those things, because there's certain things that as a fitness coach, there are certain. How do I put this? There are certain things that I can tell people that can be kind of like that light bulb moment where, you actually don't have to go as hard as you thought, right? Then there are other things where I'm like, no, you actually really do need to be strictly disciplined in this one area. And one of those things is you need to stop drinking 7 beers every night, or something like that, the equivalent of that, right? So on the one hand, you got to be disciplined in certain areas. On the other hand, it's more knowledge about what is the right appropriate dose of either exercise or habit change.
Everyone, a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people are doing dry January, which I'm a massive fan of, because people don't realize, maybe they do and we still do it, but alcohol has like 0 nutrient value. All it does is your sleep, and it screws up your workouts, and it makes you snack more. If people come in and they have alcohol, I'm like, if you're having 7 a week, Let's cut it down to 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And if they're having 2 and 3, I'm like, can we just have 1? Like, let's minimize as much as we can, unless for some odd reason we like need it for some social structure, which I understand. There's business meetings. You're weird if you don't have a drink for some reason.
Yeah.
But I think we need to shift that narrative and say, no, I just don't drink. Like, what's the big deal?
You know which narrative I think is, I got to rant a little bit here about alcohol, because the narrative that I think still is being forced upon certain people is that whole like, oh, a glass of wine a day is good for you narrative. They're still selling that, and maybe they're like, well, the polyphenols in the wine are technically good for you, and it's maybe anti-cancer. Probably not. Okay,
right.
It's like, to me, it's just the wine industry. Like it's the wine industry just trying to sell you wine. Like, oh, it tastes good, and you know, like. And I'm worried that someday they're going to come out with the same thing about coffee, honestly, because I am a fairly heavy coffee drinker. I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I'm a fairly heavy coffee drinker. And I'm like, shit, at some point, the research is just going to come out saying that any amount of this drug called caffeine is bad for us. But for now, I'm rolling with about 3 cups a day. So whatever, we'll see. Yeah.
Until the Surgeon General tells me otherwise.
Yeah. And I wouldn't really believe him anyway. If Coach Blake tells me, maybe. But
well, if Coach Blake says it,
then it must be true. Yep. We love you, Blake.
So, all right. Nutrition, that's that second bucket that we got to create some systems for.
Chicken and broccoli all day.
That will definitely get you in the right direction.
Get you shredded and depressed.
Yes. Isn't it worth it? But sometimes.
It's up to you.
Sometimes.
That's if you're wedding prepping, I mean, all right, go on. I'm sorry.
No, but it's a good point. If you are eating lean protein, fruits, veggies, you will always get the right hunger cues. You will probably have a very hard time overeating. You're going to get a ton of nutrient value. It is going to be the best way to get in shape quickly. Is that worth the misery of eating cardboard like chicken breast for lunch every day? Reheat it, like nothing on it, just with a fork and not cutting it. You've done it. I've done it. Everyone in the fitness industry has done it, and most of us will bounce back and be like, you know what? I'm gonna dress this up a little bit. So
that's what's funny, because even as someone like me, who I eat almost kind of like a bodybuilder eats, even though I'm not actually a bodybuilder, I do, yeah. Which is like, for the audience listening, essentially like 4 to 5 meals a day, each meal having probably at least 30 grams of protein, whatever, but even like, I've never even gone to that length where all I want to do is like meal prep chicken breast for the week, like no. But yeah, they'll get you shredded if you do it.
Get like 120 like plastic things ready to go.
Exactly.
The grind never stops. And you post it on Instagram.
Go to the brewery.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that angle. Now that doesn't work for most people. It's at least to start, or at least it won't last for a long time, in my opinion. So, I like the 80-20 for me because it gives me a little bit of grace, because it is hard to meal prep. Or at least at first it is, if you don't like cooking and all that. So there's a million strategies for how can we eat healthy things. I think the point is it all starts with some sort of assessment. How often are you eating out? How much are you spending on things like food and alcohol? Once we assess things, we create awareness around it, and awareness always precipitates some element of change. So we got to quantify something, and we like to use this habit dial, if you will, where we can turn certain habits up or down based on the season of life. So the first one with nutrition would be, get the right amount of protein in. 4 ounces is about the size of your palm. So that's at least 1 serving. If you're, a woman, it's usually at least 1 of those for 3 meals a day. And if you're a guy, it's about 2. That's just a good framework to start with, where you have your hand. That, and then a water goal. Most people are not drinking enough water. The number of times I met with someone in here and it's 5:30, I said, how's your water day? It's just like, I don't know, I just had coffee today. That's it. And I haven't eaten at all.
That's so true.
Yeah. So that's one of the first frameworks, I think, for nutrition. It's like, let's start somewhere that's really achievable. Huge fan of tracking. That is, using something like MyFitnessPal, where you like macros first. That gives you an exact, clear picture of where we're at. I think nutrition is kind of like you're playing darts, and there's 3 dartboards: protein, carb, fat goals. And you can log your food that you're having. It'll tell you where you are on that dartboard, so you have a little more precision, or at least awareness which is worth a lot. Do you track your stuff? You track in MyFitnessPal.
That's the most offensive question anyone's ever asked me. Do I track my macros?
I don't even know why I asked
kidding
it.
me?
I know. You posted on your Instagram story. I should know that. I don't even know why I asked.
Okay, so I actually kind of do. This is a good question, because this is a good question for me as someone who identifies as a quote unquote fitness psycho, okay, or just a fitness fanatic. Because even me, like I work in fitness, I do fitness every day, like I live, eat, and sleep fitness. I don't do anything else. I gave up all my friends for fitness like 3 years ago, okay?
You are fitness.
Like I'm kind of fun to hang out with here in the gym, but outside of that, you don't want to hang out with me, okay? But even then, I still don't track all the time. Like it's not really a sustainable lifestyle to always track all of your macros and calories. I probably do for like 3 to 4 months out of the year. Like I literally just did it. I was doing it for like the last 3 weeks just to see like where I'm at again, okay? And be like, oh, okay, yeah, didn't realize I was actually not eating that many carbs. I was eating more fat. I always kind of eat a lot of protein, whatever. But like, so I probably do on average for 3 or 4 months out of the year, like at random times or whatever, just to kind of see where I'm at again. And then I'll just be like, okay, yeah, so maybe I should start eating a little bit more of this. And then I'll just go off tracking for a while, you know, and then kind of get back on it. But my point with all this is like really strict tracking for most of us, even the fitness psychos among us like me, you're not gonna do it all year long. You're not gonna do it. So it's a good tool to build to raise awareness, right? And to learn, oh yeah, it looks like I only eat like 60 grams of protein per day, and these fitness guys are telling me I should eat 120 or something, right? It's good to build that awareness, and then once you do that, you can eat a little bit more intuitively, as we like to say, right?
Yep. When you're not logging, is that when you and Blake are sitting on his couch watching the Packers lose, eating animal crackers?
I appreciate the setup. So,
You like that?
that was very good. Fist bumps for that. We had to throw this in. So, because this is actually a good anecdote about how what's the word? You don't want to major in the minors. This is one of your psychological quotes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Phil's a psychology guy for the listeners. You don't want to major in the minors, meaning you don't want to make too big of a deal out of things that are not that big of a deal. So, about a week ago, I'm watching my Packers lose to the Minnesota Vikings on Coach Blake, our friend's couch at his place. We're watching the game together, and we love Coach Blake, arguably the smartest biomechanical coach that I've ever met. He knows the human body way better than I would even in 5 lifetimes, okay? But anyway, so he was talking to me about, he's like, yeah, man, I woke up way too early this morning. Like I woke up at like 3 something, and I was just laying there. I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, oh man, you just got to get up, you know, get up, get some coffee, you know, start your day, just start doing stuff, you know, get after it. And he's like, well, yeah, but you know, if I have the coffee like too early in the morning, that probably throws off my circadian rhythm, and then it's like bad for my cortisol. And I'm like, bro, you're sitting here eating animal crackers and Pringles while we're watching the games, and you're worried about the coffee being a little too early to throw off your circadian rhythm. Put away the animal crackers and do a bodybuilding competition.
Yeah, Jesus,
like,
come on.
Anyway.
Come on already. Yeah.
So, but people do this. Like people make this mistake of thinking like, oh, okay, I should go do, you know, maybe I should do, I don't know if it's like cryotherapy, red light therapy, or like saunas and things like that, you know, that are gonna like make this big difference. Sure, like those things can make a little bit of a difference in your health and fitness. But if you're getting 4 hours of sleep every night and you're eating potato chips and drinking beer late in the evening and you don't move your body throughout the day, no amount of sauna and red light therapy is going to help you.
No.
You need to focus on your nutrition, movement, and sleep.
And it's tempting. I mean, the number of people doing cold baths or cold whatever, they're jumping in ice water. that will not press forward your goals as much as focusing on, you know, the fundamentals. Or it's should I have white rice or brown rice? And they're kind of like, oh, I just don't. This one's got a higher glycemic index. I read online and all this. And it's like, well, how about we talk about like Papa John's on Friday and like the 3 beers? Like, we should probably talk about that one first.
Yes.
And moderate that.
Yes, and this is a problem that exists online because so many nutrition dorks like me out there, and I put myself in this category, as we like to go into, well, like you said, the white rice is actually probably better post workout than the brown because of it's like, just get rid of the animal crackers. Who cares what type of rice you're having?
Just eat the rice.
What I mean? Just eat the rice. Yeah.
Just have a little cup of rice and
eat the rice.
Yeah, exactly.
Eat the chicken and broccoli.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if there's like a fundamental goal for nutrition. It's you got to get the right protein, drink your water. If 80-20 works for you, great. But if you're new to the nutrition world, that awareness that comes with tracking is like critical. We like everyone to start with it as long as we have a good working relationship with food, so that we can kind of see what we're already having and see how close we are to the macronutrient profile that we know is going to help push things forward. But protein's the first one. Lastly, I think the third big bug is sleep and stress management, making sure those things are not getting too crazy. We love Blake. Blake, we know your sleep is good. You say those things because you care. I think, he just wants to make sure he needs his snuggly time. You need 7 hours. I think 7 is the minimum that the research says is what we need. I think that most of us are great at walking around in a very zombie-like, underslept state. And
without even realizing it, because we've been in, like, if you wake up with an alarm, that is the definition of sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
And most of us have woke up with an alarm every day since we're 6 years old, because that's what society told us to do.
We've been conditioned to do that, and that's normal. But if you go to bed early enough and you do work on getting that regular sleep pattern, even on the weekends, you will wake up more easily on your own. Now, I got 2 kids. Sophia had a horrible fever last night, and you'd think I'd sleep worse. Katie let me sleep in the kids' bed so I could actually get some sleep. And this week has been nuts, and chronically sleeping well under 7 for quite some time. And last night I got way more than usual, and it was like good deep sleep. So my Whoop says. And I woke up and I was like, wow, there's like, the colors are brighter. Like, there is a significant difference that happens when you do give your body enough. Whether it's 7 hours, 8, 9, no one's doing 4 hours. If they say they're great, I don't need sleep, like, they're either lying or they're just losing it from the sleep deprivation, for sure. It's the only time you actually recover physically and emotionally from all the stresses of life, whether they're good or bad. So you don't want to play around with sleep. If these 3 fundamental things are layers on a stool or legs on a stool, like, sleep is definitely one of them in my book.
And real quick, I'm just going to throw in this last thing about sleep, because some people are going to ask, like, well, how do I improve my sleep? I try to go to bed early, I can't fall asleep, whatever. Okay, the same thing that Phil was just talking about for all of these other habits, getting these other habits in line is going to help your sleep. Just get your body moving, particularly if you can get outside a little bit. That's probably even better. Get outside in the morning, get your body moving. Like, for me, that's the biggest thing. If I get outside in the morning, like around sunrise every day, which I do pretty much religiously, and then move my body, lift some weights during the day, I almost can't not fall asleep. Like, you'd have to smack me in the head to keep me awake past 10 p.m. This is why nobody wants to hang out with me anymore. But, like, there's a middle ground that most of you can find. You know what I mean? Yeah, so you will sleep if you move your body.
Our life is very, very easy. It's cushy. We get to sit all day. We can call food in at any moment in time.
I'm so sick of DoorDash.
So we gotta go. DoorDash is expensive. Look at how much, if you're someone who DoorDashes, look at how much you spend, and that probably is the cost of a gym membership. But,
ooh, hit him with that.
Well, how about meals out and alcohol? That's you're putting money in the bank. So, these are things you got to commit to, and I think, the psychology of why we're doing it is critical. So when you have a goal, if it is 20 pounds, ask yourself, why is this important to me? So that when it comes time to go to bed, you say yes to sleep and no to the Netflix. You say yes to the meal prep.
Chill. I'm sorry. I had a joke. No, to the chill after the Netflix. I'm sorry. I had a joke.
You had to go.
It's an inappropriate joke. I think we got to wrap it up anyway.
Friendly.
I know.
But that's what I say. Focus on your systems, the habits that get you there, not just the outcome of the goal. So write 20 pounds, right? What's my sleep goal? What's my movement goal? My nutrition goals. And that's going to carry you a lot further this January and well beyond than any sort of 6-week challenge that guarantees rapid weight loss. There you have it.
I think we wrap it at that.
Closing notes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you listening. Good stuff, Phil.
All right. Peace.